Recording, there we go. Okay, welcome everyone to our information session for the Winter 2023 Dog Tag Fellowship Program. My name is Justin Miller. I am the Chicago Program Manager. I'm joined with my rest of my staff on the programs team here, and they'll introduce themselves in 1 second. On the Chicago team, it's myself and Candace, and then on the DC team, it's Alexia and Brandon. And then also Sarah's with us from our alumni team. So I'll send it over to Candace for quick introductions, and then the DC team, and then alumni.
Hello, everyone. My name is Candace Morris. I am currently the program coordinator for Chicago. I do all of the scheduling and logistics and behind the scenes stuff for the cohorts. I am a military veteran myself, and thank you all for coming today.
Thanks, Candace.
I'll go next, Justin. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexia Jones. I am the DC Program Manager. I have previous background in workforce development, so I intend on making sure that I push everyone to their greatest potential and whichever potential you see yourself fit with. I'm so glad to be here, and I really hope you get a lot out of this presentation this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexia.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Briscoe. I am the program coordinator for the DC Fellowship Program for Dog Tag. I work closely with Alexia in ensuring that overseeing the program and also making sure that all the needs are met for our fellows. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all a bit better and also delivering an overview of Dog Tag, our resources, and how Dog Tag aligns with what you're looking for. So pleasure to meet you all. And I want to pass it off to Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the alumni manager for Dog Tag. So once you have completed the program, you come over to me and we'll go over a little bit more about the alumni program, but I'm very excited to meet each of you.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, you're definitely going to hear from Sarah later in the slides. We don't have too many slides, so bear with us, and hopefully we'll have enough time for questions at the end. I do have a couple kids in the background, so I may have to pause or punt over to you, Alexia, to run this, but hopefully they won't be too interruptive, and we'll get through this. If you're already here, you probably already know about our program, Dog Tag, but we run a living business school for transitioning veterans with service-connected disabilities, and their spouses and caregivers are able to program with us as well. We're currently in 2 locations. Our DC location that we started in 2014, that's when all Dog Tag started. They're right there in the bakery in that image that you're seeing there. And we have just expanded to Chicago this calendar year. So our first cohort just graduated a few months ago. And our goal here, obviously, is to empower fellows to rediscover purpose and find community. I like to say that we build aspiring entrepreneurs in the veteran community. So that's a little bit about what we do. Today, we're going to go over the program overview, all the pieces that go into this program, about 5 pieces in total. Work into the program, our eligibility requirements, and then the application process itself. And then again, we'll have some time for questions. So just the hard details. 1 second, please. Okay. I've got a 4-year-old behind me. Just the quick details right away. We do offer a 5-month fellowship program, and it runs twice a year. So as I mentioned, my cohort just graduated here in Chicago for the first time. We ran that from January to May. And DC runs the parallel time. So we actually follow DC in both time and structure. And you'll see that we also offer a fall break. That should actually say spring break. So I apologize for the error there. But you do get a spring break and a fall break in both cohorts each year. And then the cohort is really full time. So it consists of 3 hours in the morning, a break, an hour for lunch, and 3 hours in the afternoon. So that's that 9 to 4 Eastern. And 8 to 3 Central. So we program the exact same time. So a lot of the collaboration we can do together. We have our capstone classes and things like that. So I'll mention those later in the presentation. Of course, it's no cost to participate. We do issue a stipend to those that have been accepted and come through our program. Currently, it's $1,500 a month. And of course, that's prorated for the first and last month. But we do ensure that you get a stipend through our program because it is a full-time program Monday through Thursday. And you get Fridays off, for medical appointments or for any, family flexibility, anything that you need to build into your calendar. And then, last but not least, we do have 16 fellows slotted for DC. Right now, Chicago's at 10, but we're hoping to graduate that number by winter 2023. So more information on that to come. Our program is really built on 5 major elements, and those are here. Our academic foundation. In DC, we have Georgetown that helps us provide that custom curriculum. And here in Chicago, we have Loyola, University of Chicago, that provides that academic foundation. We have experiential learning. That's really our value proposition here at DogTag. You get to spend time with our employees at our bakery, not really making cookies, but learning the back end, learning how operations and how to budget and finance, how to strategically plan, how to build your marketing strategy, all of those pieces that go into small business. You get to go hands-on with our own staff here at the bakery. We bring in learning labs. This is just our way of saying we bring in subject matter experts to come speak to you guys on networking. They may have a subject matter expertise. They may be an entrepreneur themselves with a story they want to tell you. Lessons learned, so you don't have to fall through the same pits that they've stepped into, and sometimes just resources in general we'll bring in, like mental health resources, like Road Home program that we partner with through the Warrior Project. We also have a well-being reflection aspect of our program. A lot of that is like weekly connections over coffee. We do some wellness. We'll have some wellness Wednesdays that we do. This is a new addition to our program. And then we always end the week with a debrief. And then throughout all of these other aspects, we integrate wellness. And then last but not least is our Capstone Project, which is probably why you're wanting to come into our program, is so you can develop your own business idea. That Capstone course takes the cake, and that runs the entire program itself. We'll get to each one of these a little bit more granularly. Again, for the academic foundation in DC, it's Georgetown that offers that. There are 6 classes here. Chicago is about identical to this, with one exception. We do add a supply chain course since we're here in the Midwest. But for all intents and purposes, all of these classes here in Georgetown and at Loyola, and I'll show you the Loyola list of classes here in a second, they all mirror each other because we want to have that same basic one-on-one curriculum to help you build your business fundamentals. So you can see management, marketing, accounting, finance, communication, and entrepreneurship, of course. And then here's that list for Chicago. And you'll see that supply chains in there, that 4th bullet, that's that little extra. That doesn't quite line up with the Georgetown class, something that we've added into our custom curriculum here. But for the most part, they're very identical. The experiential learning, again, this is that hands-on in the bakery time that you get to spend, and you're probably wondering how the hell we do this virtually. We do it very well now, thanks to COVID. Before COVID, we did not have a virtual offering at all, and then we went from 100% in person to 100% virtual. But what that looks like now, being virtual, is that we work through a case study, and you actually get to pair up with our employees via Zoom to work through a case study and get their inputs on all of those pieces of that case study. It's something that we've done in the bakery ourselves, or something that we're very familiar with, like product development and things of that nature. So we've transitioned all of that experiential learning into a case study format, and then you still get to spend quite a bit of time, usually somewhere between 3 and 6 hours a week with our employees and with our bakery staff to kind of learn the hands-on operations, marketing, product development, finance strategy, all of those things that go into your small business. Team, if I'm missing anything, please chip in. Learning labs, again, that's that subject matter expertise networking component that we have in our program. So of course you have rotations, which is that experiential learning part. We just call it rotations because you're really rotating through all of the aspects of our business. We have class, we have capstone, and then in between all of these things that we have throughout the calendar schedule for the week, we pepper in resource providers, subject matter experts, anyone that, entrepreneurial success stories, sometimes failure stories. So you know what not to do when starting a business. A lot of these are either check out what I've done, or here's my resource to help you with your small business. But it can contain all of this. At the bare minimum, every single person we bring in is a really good networking resource for you. Virtually networking on LinkedIn, things of that nature. So that's really where the power of Learning Labs comes in, to help you expand your network while you're learning on the foundations of your business strategy here. Our wellness component, as I mentioned before, we have a lot of that journaling and reflection time built into our calendar with Monday mornings, Wellness Wednesdays, and of course, a weekly debrief. Every week, we always get together right before the weekends and go over the last week and look ahead. We have some physical activity that we bring in with like yoga. Again, that's in that learning lab component. So some of this is really inspired into those other areas of our program. And then finding your voice is actually really unique to our program as well. It's a theater class. You're probably wondering why a theater class is in a small business entrepreneurial program. But it is there just in fact to help those folks coming through our program to really find their voice, to really help tell their story of their business, and learn some of those communication fundamentals through this theater class. One of our founders, Father Rick Curry, has since passed, found theater as a medium of working with folks with disabilities. He came and brought that to Walter Reed. That inspired Dog Tag when we opened up in 2014, and we literally have a stage in our bakery. So if you're ever in DC and you get to go visit it, you'll see a tiny little stage over there to the right. And that is purpose built for this theater class that we do offer, obviously virtually in both cohorts. So just another really unique part of our program. I think last but not least is the Capstone Project here. This is very straightforward. You get to go into a capstone class once a week, I believe is our new schedule. It was once every other week and much longer, but I think we get smaller chunks every single week now in our new schedule. And it really helps you build your business plan from ideation to actual tangible walk away at the end of our program with a business model that actually works in hand. Our in-house instructor, Lisa, is fantastic. And this is really that time for you to focus in on your own business project, your own business plan. If you have a small business already and you're running and you just want to grow it, you can bring that business plan in and work on that business plan that helps expand your business model. And of course, we end every session, every cohort with a pitch presentation. Think of it kind of like Shark Tank, where you're going up there and really pitching your business idea to our staff, our founders, our board members. And they really get to hear your business pitch and give you good critical feedback so you can be successful after you graduate our program. And this is where I get to stop talking for a minute and give it over to Sarah, our alumni manager. And I would love for her to go over all of the great things that we do for the alumni.
Yes, thank you, Justin. So once you have graduated and you are considered an alum, there are a few different elements of our alumni program that become available to you. So one of the great things about our alumni program is our alumni check-in call, which happens monthly. This is an opportunity for our alumni to come together and reconnect with one another, meet alumni from previous cohorts, things to that effect. We're also working on introducing some more professional development workshops for our alumni community. This is something that I am actively working on, but we have held ones in the past. In addition, we have social happy hours and get-togethers. I would really view these as not only social elements of our alumni program, but also opportunities for networking and employment. The more that you get to know our different alumni, expand your network, there become more opportunities professionally, socially, maybe in terms of education as well. And as a fellow, you will also see different touch points with our alumni. So for example, during orientation week, we have a meet and greet with our alumni. So you can really ask them some questions about what their experience was like during the fellowship program. And then we'll have another one of those at the close of the fellowship program. You'll also see alumni sometimes popping up in those learning labs that Justin mentioned. So for example, we have one of our alumni from, I think it's cohort 5, I want to say. She'll come in and she'll do a learning lab on LinkedIn 101. So getting your LinkedIn already, essentially the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. So that's a really helpful resource. We also have an alumni newsletter that you'll have access to. So once a week, I put together a newsletter full of different resources, upcoming events with Dog Tag, things to that effect. And that gets sent to you every Friday. I think I touched on everything there with our alumni community. I'm sure there's more that I could talk about.
Can you briefly mention about the advisory program, since that's also fellow, but also alumni, since we never stop serving our alumni after they graduate?
Yes, absolutely. And that actually reminds me of the mentorship program as well. So you'll have access to both of those programs as alumni. So with the advisorship program, Lisa Novick, who is our capstone professor, she also offers one-on-one sessions for advisorship to you as an alum. So that's available to you as a fellow, but also as an alum. And once you have graduated the program, you have that access to that for the rest of your life. You can touch base with Lisa about anything professional or education related. Like if you're thinking, how can I advance my career? Here's some different education opportunities that I'm looking at. She'd be happy to talk through that with you. Resume review, anything to that effect. And then with the mentorship program, once you've graduated, I know sometimes that transition can be a little bit different, right? You've been in the program for the last 5 months. It's very intensive. You have a schedule that you have to adhere to every single day. And then you've graduated. And what comes next? So we developed the mentorship program to kind of bridge that gap. So you'd be paired, if you choose to participate, you would be paired with a member of our alumni community from a previous cohort, and you two would work together on achieving some of the goals that you've outlined. So that could be something as simple as, I want to make more connections within the alumni community socially, or it could be something, I want to revamp my resume, things like that. I think that covered that's like a high level overview of those two programs.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I think that covered most everything that we wanted to at least share a little bit. I realize that we are only 9 minutes left for this half-hour session we have planned today. So I'm going to hopefully hurry up through the eligibility requirements, but these are important. So I want to make sure I give them all a good portion of their time. So if you're asking if you're eligible, you need to be a post 9/11 veteran with service-connected disability, or a spouse or caregiver of that individual that is post 9/11 with service-connected disability. We do accept folks that are transitioning out of the service. We will work with you in your transition. If you expect to get that VA disability, or you are filing with the VA, that file, or at least that intent to file, we should say, will be honored for your eligibility through our program. Obviously, you need to be eager to learn and to be pushed and grow, and you have to be willing to contribute to that time commitment. We recognize that 9 to 4 Eastern and 8 to 3 Central, and we have folks that come in from the West Coast as well. That's a lot of time every day, Monday through Thursday. So during our assessments of your eligibility, we're going to make sure that you're not in a full-time program for work or for school. And if you are in a full-time education program, or you're in a full-time position, and you plan on tailoring that down to part-time to come through a program, then let us know as we walk through the selection process with you. And of course, this is DC eligibility. Chicago is very similar to those same exact requirements. The only difference is that we ask you that you're located in Chicago. Right now, because of COVID and because we're moving to this virtual environment the last couple of years, we will accept anybody, and I think that was on the last slide, because of COVID-19, we're accepting anybody from anywhere in the United States. That includes Alaska and Hawaii. We've had applications come from both of those states as well. So if we understand that, though, the time constraint in that West Coast is going to be 6 to 1, so we're going to make sure that we ask you good questions during your interview process. The documentations that we request is that DD-214. Again, if you're in the service right now and transitioning out, a copy of your orders will suffice for that. 1 second, son. Okay. We need a copy of your VA documentation of disability rating. Usually that's that letter that you can get through the va.gov. We can help you find that if you need help. And we also require a letter of recommendation and referral. That cannot come from a medical provider. And I think that's our only restriction: medical provider and family member. It cannot come from. They come from a battle buddy, a friend, a coworker, a former employer. Any of those can be eligible to submit that letter of recommendation on your behalf, just so we have some substance on your application. And then again, I'd mentioned those interviews. First, we do 3 rounds of interviews. So your first round is actually with a member of our alumni team. So Sarah coordinates a few of our alumni to come in and speak with you about the program. You get to kind of learn from their eyes, having gone through it, what the program what that experience was like from their perspective, from the alumni. And if, you're still interested in the program, and it seems like it's got a good fit after speaking with alumni, we'll move you into the second round of interview with myself, Alexia, and the rest of our programs team that comes in and interviews all of our candidates. And then our last pool of selection processes with our senior leadership. So those that are selected to move on to the third round will move on and interview with our senior leadership, usually our director of programs, Maureen, who is all of our managers, or somebody from our senior leadership. And then I think that's it. So we've got a few minutes left for questions, hopefully 5 minutes left for questions. I should probably mention that we do have, our application is live right now on our website, so you can go to that. This is our email, fellowship@dogtaginc.org, so you can contact us anytime there. And we can open it up now for any questions that you have.
I'll just quickly hop in here and add that our application deadline for this cycle is September 30th. I think we accidentally forgot to update that date on that last slide. But just so everyone is aware, the application deadline is September 30th.
Thank you, Sarah. Yep. It's always going to be the third month and the 9th month of the calendar year. So if you're looking at applying this cycle, or maybe you're looking at applying in a future cycle, just know those are typically when we recruit. Any questions from anyone out there? We have a great dozen folks or so on the line. So any questions at all before we stop the recording and end for the day?
I've got a quick question, Allison Keller.
Hi, Allison.
I thought I read on one of the slides that it said that you might move back to an in-person situation next, or in the winter session. And I was just wondering, if you decide to do that and you're accepted into the program, would you have the option of saying, I'd like to stay virtual, or would you really want everybody to be there in person?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously we have to be very diligent about how we transition back to in-person. So some of the things that we're doing for this very next cohort that we're about to run starting next week, we're doing a welcome back week. So we're flying everybody into DC for a full week of in-person programming. That being said, everybody's still virtual, so people will still be virtual in our program. We intend to have that exact same level of in-person for this next cycle that you'd be applying for this turn, and maybe even expand it a little bit. But the idea is to bring everybody to DC, where our bakery is, to be able to see that, have that space, really get some shared time with our employees and in the bakery that you can learn from, and all those aspects of the business. So as we transition back to an in-person program, I guess is a longer answer to your question, but we're not going to just turn on the floodgates right away and then exclude anybody that's already applied. We'll take everybody into consideration. But as of right now, we're trying to do more of a hybrid thing. So the majority of our programming will be virtual, and we'll have these in-person opportunities to come to DC, visit our bakery, visit our programs team in person, and connect with one another.
Great, thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? I just got a question from Angela in the chat. Just to confirm, spouse is only eligible if their service member has a service-connected disability or the service member is transitioning out. No, technically your service member doesn't need to be transitioning out if you want to come to the program. We've had plenty of spouses that have come to the program with their service member that's still actively serving. So that's perfectly okay. Any other questions?
I have another question, just out of
Yeah,
curiosity. Sure. When people begin this program, do you find that most people enter it with a pretty decent idea of what they want to do for their capstone project, what they want to do for their business? Or do you have a lot of people that apply and just say, I don't know, I just want to do something new. I want to try a new business, but I have no idea what I'm going to do?
Yeah, let me answer that by painting a picture of my last cohort. We had 9 individuals start week 2. I had one individual who was in the service for 20 something years. She retired, got out, had no idea what she wanted to do. She just wanted to be her own boss and get some of those education fundamentals and maybe even go back just to the workforce and not open a small business. So she came through our program. Another individual who already had a business, a thriving consulting business as a coach and a consultant, and she just wanted to come in and expand her business, which is what she did: rebrand, expand. I've had folks come in with already business ideas. I've had folks come through with a Juris Doctorate, and folks come in with some high school education. So to answer your question, we get folks from all different types in that range of being prepared with a business, or just having an ideation, or just knowing that I just don't want to do what I'm doing now. I want to find some more purpose in my life, and I want to do that with hopefully the intent of, working for myself or being at least more entrepreneurial in spirit. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. We get folks from all walks of life and from all different aspects of their journey with business.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And with that, it is 9:30, so I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you, everybody, for your time. We really appreciate you being here today. And if you have any other further questions, please reach out to us at fellowship@dogtaginc.org email, and we will be happy to shoot you a note back. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye all.